Hi, this is Aaron Walsh with Gooseneck Implement, and today we're going to talk about planters. First, sometimes the setup gets overlooked on the screen. We get lots of calls every spring about section control, and one of the biggest things that section control is going off of is actually your offsets and your measurements on your tractor and also on your planter. So sometimes we'll see right here the tractor is going to be all at zeros. The receiver only knows where it's at in the field. It does not know where the planter is at. So we need to make sure that we have our model and our name filled out, and then also we need to have the correct measurements in here, and don't get thrown off. Some of these are actually in feet when you get to the implement side. But also with section control, this is just a screenshot of what one of the fields looks like, and I don't want any customer to have this issue and actually see it after the crop comes up, and could easily be addressed with turn on turn off times or the measurements we were just talking about. So these are actually the four main areas that we're going to talk about that the planter is actually affecting, but there's other things that do affect these four categories as well. It was done by actually the University of Minnesota, and you can see the yield impact here on the bottom of these four categories. Correct population, uniform emergence, uniform spacing, and planting window. Granted, those are actually off of a 200 bushel average, but you get the picture. And we'll break each one of those down next here. Okay, so correct population. We want to strive for that right population, and one of those ways is first off just doing inspection on our drive units, our vacuum level. Our skips and multiples make a huge difference on our population, and like our double eliminators. One thing that has really helped now with the electric drive row units is this curve compensation. So we're able to speed up the outside rows when we're making a curve and slow down the inside rows to get the correct population across the whole planter. Uniform spacing. You know, in the news right now, social distancing is a big thing and a good thing, but corn likes that as well. Corn, it wants its neighbors, but just not too close. So uniform spacing is a huge deal. Singulation, ride quality, and we'll talk about that. But as you can see here, we want this picket fence look like the first picture. The second one down here you can see is a little bit, you know, some of the plants are a little bit closer, and here's really rough. Now one thing, if you're ever out looking through your field, make sure to look and see if there's actually seed there, and then evaluate maybe why that did not sprout. Was it just germination? Was it too much residue, which we'll talk about, but there's other characteristics than the planter didn't put it there. Make sure to see if the seed is actually there. Here's one, just kind of giving you what the bushels is actually turning out. Obviously, if we're at 100% at each spot, we're right on. The yield here is at 112 with a skip percentage, but you're missing a plant, so you're actually decreasing your bushels. Actually, the doubles, you're actually getting an increase in yield, but we're putting down more seed, which is increasing our seed costs. As we go along, CV is one that we'll talk about, and we want that to be 0.3 or lower. Really, they've found that until you get to that 0.3, you really don't affect your yield much. So, but as you can see, this one down here on the bottom, it's rough. So we do not want our planters doing that. This is a good indicator. We're at a 0.44 on CV, and you can see the X's up top here is where the plants were supposed to be, whether it's six inch spacing or what it was. But as you can see, here's what the cobs look like. I'd like a lot like this and not these little guys. And you can see how that is affected by just too close to their neighbors. Here's a really good another picture here. Probably residue. You know, we probably got a residue issue here. Just too much residue for that corn to pop through. Okay, uniform emergence was actually the biggest thing that's affecting our bushels at the end of the year. So what are influencing that is depth, seed to soil contact, residue management, temperature, and moisture. Now, a lot of times, yeah, we can't change the moisture. Some years too much moisture, some years not enough. But we can change our depth, and we can change how we do tillage practices before. Temperature, also with like row cleaners. We can clean off that row. Now, remember, row cleaners are not tillage. It's to clean residue and to try and get that soil black and just clean off that residue to warm up that temp. So here's some actually really good pictures. As you'll see, take note at some of these littler plants here and see what type of cobs they produce. So this is a great example of something you can do in your fields throughout the course of the year. And here's those plants still not going to catch up. And there we are. So one thing that is so hard with this picture is that we never do this, right? A lot of times we're just combining the corn. We got 8 row, 12 row, 16 row head. It's all bringing it in, and our yield at this area could be really good. The problem is yes, we have 2 good cobs right here. We got nothing here. So these guys, they grew, they used our nutrients for nothing, no gain. So we want to make sure that we're getting good cobs out of each area and each plant. We want each plant producing a cob. Here's our planter window. You know, it is critical. This is North Dakota. Granted, different areas in different years can be different, but as you can see, every day that we drop off of our window, we do lose potential. One thing I wanted to mention was that YouTube, John Deere's got a great page on YouTube. A lot of good videos on planters, but across the board, a lot of other things, and can be a really useful tool for you guys to be able to help you with any issue or question that you have. And my last slide here, I just wanted to talk to you guys what is going to be your first day, and how productive do we gauge that by? Is it acres done? We didn't break anything. We didn't get stuck like this year could be. Is my planter all set up? And the last thing is the planter set right, seed in the right place, the right depth, and the right seed to soil contact. And one thing I wanted to mention before I stop is at Large Ag, when we went this year, they really stressed that every pass matters. And then they went even deeper that every seed matters. And I really want to encourage you guys that we want to plant one time this year, and that's it. And I just really, really important and strive to do a really good job. So please stay safe, and hope you guys have a great spring.